Hello and welcome to the show. We are back on BeamNG Drive at the Proving Ground circuit with 3 more vehicles going to be driven till destruction, till they fall apart and can no longer drive. We have got a little bit of a theme going on for today's episode. We're starting off with a police car. We have got the W Series, this kind of a more classic Mercedes style big. I think this was fairly okay when it went around before. I don't think they were amazing, but they weren't too terrible. It's rear-wheel drive. And this has not got a particularly big engine. That might help it though in some ways. I think it's just a 2-litre petrol, as far as I'm aware. There are diesel options, all sorts of options actually with this car. Yeah, not a crazy good engine might help it. We don't want a huge amount of speed. Huge amount of speeds is fun, but a car that's not built to deal and survive a huge amount of speeds is, well, a recipe for falling apart. I mean, it is fun, but it doesn't survive long at the destruction circuit, whereas this might do quite well. Police cars have traditionally done pretty good in this series by virtue of their, offered a little bit more heavy duty. It does depend on, in this case, what the mod is, what differences there are to this to a normal one. If it's got any strengthening or anything along those lines, we will have to wait and find out. Oh, here we go. Concern primarily for this car is the drive shaft. I mean, it is for a lot of cars, but this is a sort of front-engine rear-wheel drive, quite a long vehicle. This is a sort of vehicle that's very likely to see a drive shaft snap. I'm hoping it won't be on lap 1. I don't think the W Series was a kind of lap 1 drive. Oh, there's always a chance you'll hit something slightly wrong, but I don't think it's going to be on lap 1 crash. But we will have to wait and see. I mean, this is quite a lot with the I Series, I think. It's along those lines, and that was pretty good. Ooh. I think we collapsed some suspension somewhere in the front corner. Yeah. We lost a hubcap at the rear. That's not too much of a problem. The collapsed suspension in the front right corner might be. I mean, the wheel is still attached. We've still got full steering. That's nice. We have very little grip out here. It just sort of slips and slides around. The diff is also very open. This has definitely got the one-tire fires going on quite a lot. So I suspect, if we have any issues with the rear wheel, that will be game over. Not ideal, but fairly common when it comes to cars. There's a few vehicles will have decent diffs, like sort of limited slip diffs and that sort of thing, or lock diffs, but a lot of the cars that go around here simply don't. Not that rear wheels take too much, well, most of the time they don't take too much of a battering, but that's not to say that they can't. Okay, we're going up towards the end of lap 1. That's a big jump for the W Series, a big crash to the ground, but it's looking okay outside of that front corner. Just pinged the hubcap off. That's alright. For a second I thought I saw some steam coming out of it, like the radiator has gone, but no, we are all good. I was looking at how buckled the roof line is. Considering, I mean, okay, so the vehicle hasn't rolled, obviously, so that buckling is going from, that's like through the car to create that. Is it always alarming? Oh, we're through the water. It has cooled whatever temperature. Now, if we lose the radiator, I mean, overheating is always a potential hazard. I was very worried sliding a little bit across the checkerboard. We've seen that tear wheels off. We've seen it wreck cars doing that. So you really don't want to be sliding across that section. But it's dealing with that sort of bump quite well. We have got a lot of understeer through there. We're just going to ping our way across the Toblerones. That's fine. Right, the spinners. We've got a slightly tweaked steering. Oh, okay. I overdrove it a smidge into there. It's fine. All it did was nick the lights off the top. It's slightly smacked in the driver's side, but nothing crazy. Yeah, that's pretty. Considering it's not exactly an off-road vehicle, actually not bad nick coming up towards the jump for the second time. But we saw the damage this jump did. First time of asking. The second time around, I mean, we've lost all the hubcaps. That's something. I'm not sold on the strength of the front suspension anymore. Really am not sold on that. Doesn't really look like it's held together properly, but we're still going, and still got lots of understeer. It's all good for now. Ow. Less good. I guess it was only a matter of time before we see the radiator. Well, likely to see the radiator get punctured now. We did see the water, Shallow Grave was doing a good job of cooling the car, so that might keep it alive for a little bit longer. I don't know how quickly, and it depends. A couple of things when the radiators fail. That it can depend on the overheating, how big a puncture it is in the radiator. Sometimes you can just get small ruptures, and it takes a while for the coolant to leak out. Sometimes they can be sort of everything gone immediately. It sounds so bad on the landings, but it's not really doing too much. Yeah, and the Shallow Grave is more effective at cooling some cars than others. Don't quite know why, haven't figured it out. I thought it was to do with maybe ride height or something, like lower cars because they're more in the water, but it doesn't always seem to be the case. Some vehicles don't get affected by it at all, so, or seemingly don't. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have a look as we drive towards it here, though. What will we be doing in terms of cooling? We will get quite a lot of cooling. Nice. So the radiator's gone. Oh, it doesn't sound great across there. The chassis bowed, yes. It is, basically. Great. That's exactly what we want to see. That starts to ring. That's really alarm bells for the drive shaft. The more the chassis bows, the more likely it is to see that drive shaft failure go on. Oh, we are through the spinners much more sensibly this time around. That's how you're supposed to do it, not like the plank that I was in the previous lap. Alright, shafted jump. Here we go. This is the concerning one for the car. I mean, speed-wise, it's good to get up the jump and jump far enough to get a decent landing. It's not so fast it's going to hit the wall on the landing. Oh, now we're going to be noisy. Yep, it's very noisy all of a sudden. Oh dear, oh dear. We have gone around. Can we avoid the fence? Yes, we can. Just. Okay. Exhaust falling off, not the worst thing. If we lose the exhaust, it just means I have to turn my computer down a little bit because all of a sudden it got very, very loud. But no real major problems with that. It doesn't really create any major problems. I mean, the temperature... Oh, for God's sake. Literally. I knew it was only a matter of time. I just thought it was going to be a more spectacular jump that would get it. That one was just... I guess it's just too buckled. It's that repeated crashing into the ground. Just bends the chassis. Bends everything to the point where that drive shaft is going to snap. Surprised it wasn't on the shafted jump, to be honest, that went. But there we go. The police car, it's not a bad showing. It's not a bad showing at all for the car, but it has lost drive, and that will be the end of that. Up next, we have got a Roma. This is kind of like a fire chief Roma. Now, admittedly, it's not a full-on fire truck. I couldn't find one. But it is that... yeah, we're going to go with a fire, kind of fire vehicle. Theoretically should be good. I mean, it's got lifted suspension. Should be good for surviving bumps. Romas are pretty strong, full stop. There are a couple of concerns, though. Now, lifted suspension is good. Kind of. It has its plus points, but it also has some drawbacks, and that is we are likely to see this bouncing around quite a lot. Because the bumps and stuff that you hit with this, you're hitting at speed. The rules of the series, everything has to be driven has to be driven as fast as I can drive it. It means that we're hitting jumps and we're hitting bumps with, a lot of force in this. Now, in the race cars, the suspension simply can't deal with it, and it tends to go through the car itself. You crash through that. But when you do have more ground clearance like this, and more suspension more set up like this, it often bounces a vehicle around. Now, that does initially less damage to the kind of suspension, but the crashing around on landing, and more significantly the rolling that can go along with it, that is where the damage can come in. Also, it's a much bigger vehicle. Spinners are a fun thing to try and fit through. But yeah, this thing bouncing around across bumps and on landings can do a lot of damage. It's almost like the secondary landing. So we'll hit this jump up here. We'll see how it does. I don't know how the Roma's going to fare here. But yeah, we'll hit the shafted jump. And the initial landing will be okay, but it's likely to bounce us back into the air. And then who knows what's going to happen. A bit like that. Wasn't too bad, that one around. But yeah, that can sometimes lead to roll. Especially if the vehicle starts getting damaged and you can't take jumps perfectly straight. You can't set up perfectly for everything. Then you have to start dealing with all sorts of things. We'll see how it goes with this. I'm expecting it to be pretty good. You always do with the SUV. Some of these things are incredibly tough and it takes a lot to kill them. Sometimes something goes wrong like that and it's already in big trouble. Oh, the rear. What has happened to the rear of it? Why has that happened? The whole rear end is just got stuck. It's like there was no suspension at all anymore. Can somebody unping my rear suspension? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. We're going to turn this from the bouncy truck that I was talking to into the sports car that I was talking about. You're supposed to have something. Let's just completely collapse the whole rear end suspension. It's not even been a lap. How has that happened? It's definitely not how it's supposed to go. I mean, the good news is it's the rear rather than the front. I think I'd rather it this way round. Stop hitting the back of my truck. No, it really bobbles horribly. Yeah, I guess I'd rather this way round. The handling is going to be all sorts of crap. I have concerns, all sorts of concerns. Yeah, land on the front. Very weird I'm saying this, but now I actually want it to land on the front more than the back because it's got. You can see the roofline actually, how much it's bowed. Really, very oversteery now. With, well, I mean, suspension's all... Ooh, a whack. It's bunny hopping its way down the road. Oh, this is not what I expected at all from it. Oh, big oversteer. This is really not what I expected. So, what might we see now? I don't know. Could the whole rear end fall off? I don't actually know what could happen to the back of this truck now. I guess we could lose parts of the rear. Probably the rear wheel is the concern. Is it? Oh, we land heavily. We'll start losing rear wheels. If it does lose the rear axle, it would still be able to drag itself around as a front-wheel drive for a bit anyway. So I guess I don't have to worry too much about that. But traditionally, it's the front that gets broken first. I don't know. Maybe it'll just drive like this. Maybe, it looks awful. It looks incredibly serious, but maybe it's just going to carry on like this and not give it any more grief. I feel that's unlikely, but you never know. Especially considering how much it's bunny hopping up the jumps. Okay, that smacks down quite hard on the front. Trying to get it under some sort of control here. Ugh. It doesn't like the off-road section anymore. Probably the very long wheelbase and completely knackered rear suspension is not going to help with that. Doors are flapping. Front doors are still attached. That's fine. Oh, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Out of control truck. This is where it all went wrong. Up. It was this one, wasn't it, I think, rather than shafted that collapsed my rear suspension. Is my front, as long as my front suspension's good, I guess we're alright for now. I don't know what happens if that collapses. That collapses, I think we scrape the underside of the car on, I don't know, something, the checkerboards, and that probably kills it. Actually, maybe not. We don't really scrape the rear. What was that? It looked like a spring or something fell out. I hope it wasn't important. Whatever it was, can't fix it now. We're just going to carry on, not worry about any of it. Up towards the finish line we go. It's not really done any more. That lap around's not really done any worse damage to the truck outside of, I guess, things are a little bit more bent than they were. Oh dear. I did not want to fly flat and level through there. We've lost the boot. I don't quite know what's happening. Like the whole roofline at the back's completely gone. I guess that's the impacts. I guess where the impacts are going now. Like impacts at the rear of the car are bending something. You know, something's got to absorb that, and it's absorbing it by bending the bodywork. I'm glad it's not bending the chassis yet. Have these wheels been shunted forwards? Or is it might be just be how everything's caved in at the back? Okay. Well, this is a thing that we have to contend with. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. We're all good. If we spin somewhere, I'm worried about losing one of the rear wheels, but worried about turning. Oh, got that wrong through there. That has taken an absolute battering in that section, and basically it didn't even take the radiator out. So the downside of this is a long vehicle. It does not fit very easily into the spinners, and I just missed the turn initially and then couldn't really get it back again. Oh, I've got a big wobble going on up to here now. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Well, I say we're fine. There's not a bit of this that really looks fine. However, it is still going. I mean, that's the point of this series at the end of the day, is vehicles that in no way, shape or form should be driving. In fact, it's actually busted. I think that landing broke my rear even more. Because now, the whole thing's tweaked. It's now driving like a stadium truck. We've got one wheel up in the air when cornering. Come on. Come on. The only downside is, when cornering to the left, I think we have the front wheel in the air. When cornering to the right, we have a rear wheel in the air. That's not how a stadium truck... That needs another spring or so. I feel like bits are falling out of the car constantly at the moment. I mean, it does look like this. At the rate we're going, I think we're going to pull the bodywork off of it. Like, the bodywork's not attached to the back. You can see the back of the ladder chassis going on there. It's only held on by one bit. But the thing is, okay, it's one of the worst looking vehicles that I have driven, I think. Or one of the worst looking vehicles that isn't completely out of it. Yet it doesn't drive anywhere near as bad as some I've had. It is now pulling quite a lot on the steering front. Ooh. I had to do that. I had to pull it away from hitting the post. If I hit the post, it kills it. I'd rather lightly bounce the wall than hit the post. So I'll take that as the options. We have got damage now. The front right wheel is getting a lot worse than it was. So yeah, I mean the spinners didn't help, but the actual damage that's causing it grief, stopping it from going, is not caused by the spinner. The spinners really just did visual damage to it. It made it look horrific, but yeah, mechanical damage-wise, whatever happened to that front right wheel is a problem for us. I'm worried about the spinners again because I know this is difficult to get through there. Or we don't turn left very easily. So yeah, it was easy to misjudge it at a relatively good condition. Well, very relative speaking. But now we have got quite poorly steering. It's going to be even tougher to get right. And I mean, we get it wrong, we might lose the whole bodywork. It's the radiator or engine that would be the concern if we get this wrong. Okay, we're into the first part. Get turned. We are out just. It's not very easy. We picked up some debris, but we just kind of moved it clear. Okay, cool. Towards the ramp, towards the big shafted jump we go. What is through this first part? Doesn't really do anything. It's this dirt section. This is what kills the Roma. What are we going to see here? Okay, it flies nice and level. Big crunch on the ground. No worse. Has it unpinged that rear? Has the rear unpinged itself? Hold on. Has it fixed itself? We seem to have suspension travel again. Huh? That is not what I expected to ever see from this. I thought once that was buckled up... No, we've got better. This lap around we've fixed our vehicle with more crashes. How does that work? Oh, game of mystery. How does that work, in fact? That's not supposed to happen. Cool. Well, I guess we carry on. We will keep going until the steering gives up. I think that's probably what's going to happen, or until the suspension sort of pings back in again. Oh, there we go. We're fine. Okay, we start another lap in better condition than we were before. I don't actually know at what point that suspension pinged out. I wasn't really paying attention. God, it's sounding bad. It's really crashing its way across these jumps, but it's still, you know, going along. It's still making progress. Did we just do something to the front right? No, front right's okay. I thought for a second the front right had collapsed. I thought as we went around a corner we'd collapse the front right, but no, we're all good. Still. Okay, now if we can fix the steering so it doesn't pull so badly right, then we'd almost be back to, well, kind of where we started, bar the... I mean, look at it. Okay, mechanically speaking, we'd be back to where we started. It's time to tackle the spinners once more. This is where we have our problems, potentially. Come on, carefully does it through there. Yeah, that's it. We are through in one piece. It's going to be a little bit slower than some of the cars. Oh, did we collect a bumper? We did. Can we get rid of the bumper? Yeah, we'll just drag it further down the road. Okay. Back towards the shafted jump. Steering, I don't know if it's got worse. Whatever, it's still pulling us along a bit. here we go. How are we going to land that one? Pretty good. Nothing major, although we are careering towards the wall because it's bouncing about a lot. There is some debris threatening the front wheel. Now, I'm allowed to stop and I'm allowed to pull debris free of a vehicle. However, I really don't want to do it unless I have to. Basically, yes, I can node grab away bits if they get completely wedged. However, if they aren't just stopping us from moving, I also run the risk of node grabbing it and tearing bits of the car apart. Puncturing tyres is very easy. So, while yes, there is debris around that wheel, it's not stopping it from moving, it's not stopping it from working, so I don't want to run the risk of trying to remove it and actually puncturing the tyre and making matters 10 times worse. So, for now, it can stay. Hopefully it'll fall off on its own. Doesn't look like it. It's going to, but there we go. Ooh, steering is all manners of funky. At the moment, that has got worse this lap around. Oh! Okay, can I actually free the vehicle from this? I think we have wrapped it around a post. Now, if it is truly wedged... Oh, no, no, no. There we go. It lives! Everything is currently clinging on. Oh, we are worse than we were before. It's got worse. It's got a lot worse now. It's still driving though. I fear that the spinners might be the death of this. The whole front. It looks like the front end's going to fall off of this. It really doesn't look like anything's held on properly anymore. My steering doesn't really work, although it's. Well, once we're up to speed, are we going to lose the fender? No, not quite. That's just going to flap around at the front. Oh, there we go. It's come off. Oh, we caught it as well. Yeah, there's no bodywork at the front. Just the whole front end is gone. That engine. If we have a trouble in the spinners, the engine is going to take a full speed whack. The spinners are going at 70 miles an hour. And a 70 mile an hour whack into those is not going to do the engine any good. Oh, come on. Do I still have the turning to make this? Yes, we do. Oh, barely though. If this steering gets any worse, we are in all sorts of trouble. I mean, I'm worried about the landing of the jumps because the vehicle's just bouncing randomly now. There's always a concern with the off-roaders. It's surviving well, this though. Like this is a serious survival going on. Oh god, it's pulled a long way to the left there. We got away with it. As soon as it hit the ramp, it just decided it wanted to go left. There's a concern for the start-finish line jump because you're carrying quite a lot of speed and you're aiming for a fairly narrow bit, which in a perfect condition car is fine, it's no problem, but this is a very long way away from that. What we're going to see over this jump here. Oh god, it twists again. Amazingly, I can't believe that engine is still in one bit. I can't believe the radiator's not busted. I don't know how the radiator isn't broken. I don't understand that. The radiator should have been dead. Oh, the exhauster's gone. Sure, we're just going to make a lot of noise now. That's fine. Did my steering get worse? I don't know. I don't think so. It's bad, but I don't think it's any worse than it was. Okay, here we go. Start-finish line. Can we... No, stop twisting, for God's sake. Oh, the body has actually now come loose. The whole body is falling off the truck. It still drives. We are going to lose the bodywork. I say not the bodywork. I think the entire body is going to come off this truck if I'm not careful. We had it very nearly happen with the van. Yeah, okay, the body is now loose. Certainly from the front. Oh, the whole body's fallen off! Body's gone! We still drive! How is this happening? I mean, we can see what's wrong with the truck, and all of the front end is wrong. It's not a truck anymore. It's just a remote control ladder. That's all we've got. It's a remote control with an engine and some drive, and that's that. Well, we can see everything. And a radiator. How is the radiator? How have we lost the entire bodywork and not lost a radiator? That does not make any sense to me at all. But apparently that is the case. Please turn, you understeery thing. How is that front wheel still clinging on? I mean, it's barely clinging on. Good news is that spinners probably aren't actually going to be able to hit us now. We might be low enough that they can't do anything to us. I don't know. Now, this might actually help the frame survive, because, well, we've lost the bodywork, which means there's a lot less weight on this. So when we go over these jumps, well, it's going to be less weight to hit the ground. Oh, but it might just take out the wheel. I was perfectly straight with those wheels, but that is now gone. Can I still drive this? Can we still get it around the course? Oh, we just pinged it. So it's only able to do this because one wheel steers and the other goes straight on. It's just working here. We may have to do the old swap it to rear-wheel drive only if needed. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, that's not good. That's really not good. That wheel is at such a bad angle. That wheel might be permanently locked facing that way. How has that even occurred? It's like it's completely... it's done something stupendous to the steering rack. It's really knackered. Whatever's going on with the front of this. But it's still going! That's fallen off. I thought that was the radiator. Oh, we've lost steering, I think. If I cannot pull it... If I cannot get it back on course here, we might just get away with picking it off the wall there, but this is going to be quite limited, I fear. Oh, come on, truck. You can make another lap. You can. Now, I am going to deactivate the front-wheel drive part of it. It's not going to matter. Sometimes if you have all-wheel drive and the wheel is... no, that one is the one we want. No, it's not going to matter. Come on, I need you to make this corner. Sometimes if you've got the front wheels driven, it can drag the car in the wrong directions. This is... it's able to do it. Just... That wheel is going to fall off. Will it fall off before it smashes the record around here? I say smashes the record. Oh, we have to actually avoid running into our own debris. That's a concern. That's quite a big bit of debris. And I need to steer. I don't want to crash weld myself back to the body. We have driven an entire lap minus the bodywork. This is a first on Driven Till Destruction. We almost had the van do it, but the van died before the body fell off. Come on. Come on, what's left of fire truck? You can do this. It's now very difficult to get it around the course. I don't think we'd get through the... I don't think we'll get through the spinners. I don't think we would have got through the spinners with the bodywork. We might just be low enough to go under them now. Oh, there's a bit of the exhaust getting caught. I mean, the front suspension, I think, is kind of a goner. Oh, no. Please turn. Please turn. We've got to be able to make these corners, otherwise you will be counted out, vehicle. Come on, make this corner. I mean, we are still well within the crawler rule. We're not going that slowly through these sections, and we're more than capable of accelerating up to 20 in between sections. That wheel is not happy at all. Come on, come on. Okay, here we go underneath them. It doesn't matter too much. Oh, that will. Okay, so it is now so low, it's irrelevant what happens through the spinners. I'm not sure I want to take that risk. Saying that risk willingly, almost. Oh, come on, you got to stay on the course, though. Here we go. This is the jump that's done so much damage to the... Oh, that's a death. Oh no, it might not, because the wheel's been pushed up. The wheel's been pushed up out of the way. Okay, so we've lost that front wheel, but we still have steering on the other one. Good news. I thought that was it. I thought that was the end of it. Now, we might have problems with the speed. Oh, that is the end of it. It's just so horrifically difficult to drive. Oh, and that is... I was about to say I was worried about it when it hits speed bumps, because it's gonna potentially be so low at the front, but it is just so undrivable by that stage. Oh, that might be the best run any vehicle has ever had on one of these series. That is incredible. It did not want to give up. It is not quite enough to go to the top. It can't be the work van or the T series, but that is ridiculous. That is my favourite run we've ever had. Well done, Roma. On to our leaderboard, and it is the Roma. Well, it goes best of the day. It goes into third. It can't quite beat the T series or the work van, but that is still a very, very impressive drive for the vehicle. It's the first time I've had a body come clean off of a car, and it still drove. It was, you know, heavily battered by that point, but yeah, that's one of the most spectacular failures we have ever seen in this series, and that is always a good thing. We go a bit further down to find the W series. That's at 28th place. Not too bad. I mean, it's about a mile and a bit further than the standard W series, so yeah, it did pretty good. Pretty much what I was concerned about most likely with it is what happened. The drive shaft. That's that style of car. Otherwise, up until then, it was actually in fairly good shape, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Well, that is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them and have a go with them yourself. That, though, shall be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.